What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Twenties Podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to reminding you of your God-given purpose through personal testimonies, trials, and personal revelations. I believe that God has called and created each and every single one of us with a purpose for a purpose, but it is up to us to align with it. I'm your host, T. Louise, and I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Twenties Podcast. It's your girl, T. Louise. I am so excited to finally be back with Twisted 20s. You guys know that when I ended my end of the year episode off, I told you guys that Twisted 20s will be returning in February. And I took a fast, or I guess you could say a sabbatical from Twisted 20s, as my ministry called for a 30-day fast. It was a very transformational fast. We started our fast on Christmas Eve and we ended it sometime around the middle of January. The things that God poured into my spirit, the instruction that God gave me, the dreams, the visions that He has given me, not just for Twisted 20s, but for my own, bringing my clothing brand back, for YouTube, for TikTok, for social media, for my personal life. Everything that God has been instructing me in the time of fasting has been so monumental for me. I know that this year has already started off really rough for people. The California wildfires, the plane crash. There's a lot of things that are going on in the world. But on this episode, the first episode of 2025 of the Twisted 20s year, I wanted to encourage you guys to seek God intentionally. A lot of my episodes are going to be based around the theme of seeking God intentionally. One thing that God poured into my spirit while I was on a fast is that He wants His children to seek Him intentionally, not out of routine, not out of habit, but out of a genuine desire and love for Him. And that is something that I'm even striving for on my own personal walk with Christ. I'm starting to get up at 5 a.m. and I'm starting to worship, pray. Davion's even joining me. And we've been getting up at 5 a.m. since our fast. It's something that we've even continued after our fast. And another thing God has put on my spirit too is just, this year is a year that He wants His children to walk boldly, confidently, with authority and courage in the things that He's called for us to do. I told you guys last year that I would be starting my YouTube journey again, because I have tried to do YouTube multiple times and I just I've never stuck with it. It's not something that I was just like, this is something that I enjoy doing. Over the holiday season, I was blessed with an Osmo Pocket 3, which kind of like gives me a little bit like of a boost of confidence, because I'm not walking around my big old camera, which I normally record on. So having my Osmo is like, okay, this is the shy girl camera. You feel me? So I have been, recording more content and things like that. There are cinematic short film ideas that God has given to me and all these different content ideas. And I just remember telling God, like, God, if this is something that you want me to do, like, you're really going to have to pour ideas into me, because I'm not like, the ideas that I come up with, like, they good, but the ideas God gives me, I'm like, there's no possible way that I could have come up with this. And I know that a lot of my creativity and my ideas come from God. And so my desire this year is, 1, to be obedient to God, 2, to seek Him intentionally, but 3 is going to be to do whatever it is that He's asking me to do with courage, with confidence, and with authority. Understanding that even if my backdrop don't look the best, which it don't, and I'm really like I'm trying to be in a place where I'm not allowing small things that are not up to perfection or up to par with how I want it to be to stop me from doing what God is calling me to do. I'm telling y'all, this episode is going to be short because it's just a welcome back episode. But these next episodes that's coming, I'm telling y'all, these are episodes that God has poured into me about. God really got on to me because I used to be like, I would literally like come up with my whole outline for my podcast the day before and record the day before it's supposed to go out. And God was like, you can't afford to do that anymore. And he told me, he was like, I need you to study these. I need you to study for your podcast like you're studying for sermon prep. And I'm like, sermon prep? I'm not a preacher. But this is my ministry. This is the platform that God has given to me to share his word, to share my testimonies, to allow others to share their testimonies. And I have to study and show myself approved. And so God already gave me the outlines for a majority of my episodes. So I'm just, there's so much I want to share with you guys. And I'm just waiting, because I'm one of those people, like, when something exciting happens in my life, I'm like, I can't wait to tell somebody. I just got to scream it from the rooftops. But I'm also in a place where God is like, wait, be patient. You will be able to reveal certain things in due time. But I just wanted to say, welcome back. If you guys missed me, I definitely missed y'all. And if you are new to Twisted 20s and you have never heard any of my episodes, and this is the first episode, and you like, girl, what are you talking about? Please be sure to go back to all of the Twisted 20s episodes. And I encourage you to go back to the very, very beginning. And the very beginning is from 2019. And that is when I was in a place of disobedience. It was when I was in a place of not even believing in Jesus, not truly believing in a higher power. I was in a place of grief. I was in a place of turmoil. But now, by the grace of God, I have been transformed. My mind has been renewed, and I will never be the same again. And I cannot wait to share a lot of the things that God has been revealing to me over the past week, the past couple weeks, and the past couple months. I also wanted to let you guys know that all that hard work of every episode saying, if you guys would love to be on the Twisted 20s podcast, we are looking for guests, and email me at support@twistedtwenties.org. Someone finally reached out to me and asked to be on my show. And honestly, when I first saw the email, I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry because I've been doing this podcast since 2019. And it's become an outlet for me to truly share my transformation through Christ. But I also wanted it to be a platform where others could share their own testimonies and their journeys with Christ. And for the first time, God allowed me to experience someone actually reaching out to me versus me reaching out to someone else to join the podcast. And I just want to encourage you that if you feel like nobody's listening to you, if you feel like no one's watching you, no one is caring about your content, no one's listening to your podcast, no one's listening to your music, no one's looking at your artwork, whatever it is that you're doing, and you feel like no one is watching, no one's listening, I promise you, there is someone out there that needs your gift. There's someone out there that needs to hear your testimony. There's someone out there that will be blessed by what you are doing. Do not give up on the vision that God has given to you. Do not give up on your purpose. Do not give up on the very things, the gifts, the talents that God has placed on the inside of you, because someone else is in need of it, to be encouraged, to be strengthened. And when I saw that email, that's what that reminded me of, is that there is someone out there listening to me that may hear my testimony, that may hear about my journey with Christ, that may hear about, my past and the things that I used to do and be like, if God saved her, if Jesus died on the cross for her, then he did it for me too. So welcome to 2025 of Twisted 20s. I cannot wait to take you on a new year and a new journey with Twisted 20s. See you guys next week for an all new episode of the Twisted 20s podcast. Peace, love, and blessings, T. Louise.